when I was teaching school, teaching history, didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the dates. I said there's only a few dates you needed to know. 1609, when the English settled Jamestown. Maybe 1492, when Columbus came across the ocean blue. 1776. 1860, 1865. 1939, 1945. Main dates in American history. Those are the only dates you really need. Everything happened either before that or after that. The main focus of American history, and to teach history, is to tell the stories. And I think the Bible's a lot the same way. You can get caught up in all the begats. You can get lost in those. You can get bored to death in those. But there are stories. What are your favorite stories? What are your favorite stories from the Bible? They teach you anything? Anybody got a favorite story? I've got a couple, and if you've been in Sunday school class, you've probably heard them a couple of times. But I think they talk to us about what Jesus expects of us. These are from the book of Matthew and the book of Mark. They're the same story, slightly different versions. In Luke, it teaches us about the most important commandment, how we relate to God and each other. Now, you know the story. Jesus is being questioned by the Pharisees. Now, here again, you know who the Pharisees were. Pharisees were good people. Pharisees were the religious people of the day. They followed the rules. They expected everybody else to follow the rules. They were good religious people. So you can't say anything really bad about them, other than the fact that maybe they were too religious and not faithful. But Jesus is being examined by one of the Pharisee leaders. And the discussion gets around to what's the most important commandment. And Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind. And love your neighbor as yourself." That's from Matthew. But I like Luke because there's the story that follows it up. One of the leaders of the Pharisees wanted to be sure that he had the details down. So he asked Jesus, "So who is my neighbor?" And Jesus told this story in reply. A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes. They beat him. They went away, leaving him half dead. Now, a priest happened to be walking by. And when he saw the man, he crossed to the other side of the road. And so to a Levite. Now, the Levites were people who had dedicated their lives to the church. They were the chairman of the church board. They were the people that were really active. So this Levite also comes by, and he saw the man, and he passed by on the other side. Must have been going to a church meeting. didn't want to have to go through the purification rituals of touching blood, just didn't have time to take care of it. There might be somebody hiding in the bushes. This was a trap. But then a Samaritan. Now, who were the Samaritans? They were them. They were the foreigners. They were the disrespected. They were the unliked. Back when the Davidic Empire split, the Jews, the two tribes, Judah and Benjamin, stayed with their capital in Jerusalem with the temple. They became the kingdom of Judah. The other 10 tribes established the kingdom of Israel. And they not only split the kingdom, but they split the religion because they built a temple in Samaria. So this was not just a political problem, it was a religious problem that had festered by this time for about 300 years. They simply didn't like each other. The worst thing you could do is call somebody a Samaritan. You didn't even eat with them. You didn't touch them. You didn't let their shadow fall on you. They were nasty, evil people. So down the road to this attack scene comes this Samaritan. And he says, a Samaritan, as he traveled by, came to where the man was. And when he saw him, he took pity on him. And he went to him and he bandaged his wounds and he poured oil and wine on them. Why wine? Alcohol. We do the same thing. You got a bruise, mom got the rubbing alcohol out, stings, antiseptic. Then he put the man on his donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. He gave the innkeeper enough money to take care of him for the next week. He gave the money to the innkeeper, and he says, look after him. And when I return, if you spend anything else, I will give you more money. Now, Jesus asked a question. Of these 3 people, the priest, the Levite, and the Samaritan, who was the neighbor? Who was the neighbor? Which of these 3 men was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hand of the robbers? And the Pharisee said, the one who had mercy on him. And Jesus said, go and do likewise. Go and do likewise. Now, what does this mean? What did the Samaritan do that we need to emulate? This foreigner. This one of them. This person that doesn't fit in. This person that goes to a different religion. The thing is, he showed kindness. He showed kindness. So what do we mean by kindness? If you look in a dictionary, it says kindness is the quality of being kind. Well, whoopee. So, let's define a word by using the word. Generous, considerate, friendly. We can look at all the definitions we want to, but how do we show kindness? How do we show kindness in our daily lives? How do we show kindness? Come up on the intersection. You and this other car get there about the same time. Wave them on, or step on the gas and beat them through. Think about it. How do we do? Get behind somebody on the highway. I'm bad at this one. Get behind somebody on the highway and they're going a little slower than you think they ought to go. Get to the place where you can finally pass them. Stomp on the accelerator. Zoom by. You may acknowledge their presence with a single finger wave. Right? Or do you just take it easy, go by, smile? You know, sometimes you offer emotional support. Sometimes you give your time to someone. What's the most expensive thing we can give? The one thing we can never get back. And that's your time. You show respect for other people no matter who they are. Show respect. Encourage other people. Encourage other people. You can do that. Offer some help. We'll get you through it. Be there when someone needs you. Listen. Talk. Hold their hand. Give compliments. Give compliments. Say please and thank you. Say please and thank you. Smile. Say hello. Even if you don't know who they are. If you've been in Sunday school, you've heard me talk about my dad. We could be walking down the street and he would say hello to somebody. And I go, Dad, who is that? And he goes, I don't know. I don't know. But they looked at me. Recognize them as a person. Say hello. Wave to strangers. That'll get them. You ever wave and smile at a stranger? And they look at you like, what's he up to? Well, I mean, wave at strangers. But here's the big one. Don't put yourself ahead of others. Be considerate. And remember, it's not all about you. Love your neighbor. So like Mr. Rogers, are you my neighbor? Are you my neighbor? Am I your neighbor? A couple of years ago, the Lady Hatchets basketball team wore t-shirts that said, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. In a world where you can be anything, be kind. Isn't that what the Samaritan did? That's what Jesus meant when he said, "Go and do likewise." Be compassionate. Be kind. No matter how bad off we are, no matter how busy we are, no matter what our personal concerns are, be kind. It will brighten someone's day, and it will brighten yours. Smile. Wave. Listen. Be kind. Think of the Good Samaritan. And I think if we all do that more often, we'd be better off. As Jesus said, or as St. Paul said, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourself in compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Let's pray. Lord, as we see each other in the world, we see each other outside the doors, as we see people we don't know, help us to be compassionate. Help us to act with humility and gentleness.